So in this segment of the Virtual Vendor Showcase, I'm really pleased to focus on the GuestView guide from Sharp NEC, known as the Digital Concierge for Vacation Rental Properties. And I'm really pleased to have with me Sunil Goud, who is from Sharp NEC, from the Global Innovation and Solutions Group. And so welcome, Sunil.
Thank you, Heather. It's nice to be here.
And also we have with us Sam Anderson from Savannah Luxury Rentals, and they manage over 80 premier vacation rental homes in downtown Savannah, Georgia. And Sam is a user of the GuestView guide. So I'll come back to you in a second, Sam. Let's just kick off with you, Sunil, and tell us a little bit about what the GuestView guide actually is, because there's a range of digital digital guides available. What makes the GuestView guide unique?
Sure. Well, so first of all, as you mentioned, it's a digital concierge that gets mounted on the inside wall of a rental property in a high traffic area. And what really differentiates GuestView Guide is that we've used a large format interactive touch display. So it's almost 2 feet by about 1.5 feet wide. And so it's something that guests are going to notice right when they walk into the unit. And basically, the concierge provides guests with all the information that they need to know about the property and local area, so they have what they need during their stay.
That's fantastic. And in full transparency, my company test drove the GuestView guide earlier this year in a property throughout the summer. So while we're talking through this, I'm going to refer back to the experience that owner and our guests had as well. So I actually know what the guests experience when they walk in the door, but perhaps you could describe it from your point of view, Sunil, as to what you wanted guests to experience.
Well, when you think about a guest walking into a unit, they're arriving at a property that is not their home, right? And so things are unfamiliar. So what we've done with GuestView Guide is to make sure that when a guest walks in, they can find all the information they need to know about where things are located and how to use things. So whether it's using the jacuzzi or using the appliances in the place, they can watch videos, for example, on how to use those things, so they're not constantly calling the property manager to figure that out, or having to sit there in front of a paper guidebook and read like they're studying while they're on vacation. So really what we have done is tried to create something that's going to be a highly engaging and fun experience to use.
I know that when guests walk in, they're welcomed by their name on the screen. It's like that warm, really warm welcome. You get it in hotel rooms, but actually it felt a bit warmer from
right.
The GuestView guide. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was because it's on a separate standalone screen and not on the TV. How does that personalized information get onto that screen? Now, talk to me like I'm a novice. Because
Sure. Basically, what we're doing is, we basically integrate with your property management software system. And so we essentially pull reservation data such as the check-in date, the checkout date, and the guest name. So when a new guest comes in, it's going to have their name on the screen and welcoming them to the place.
Yeah, I know that our guests at our property absolutely loved that. And they commented when they called. Said it was so nice to walk in the door and get and feel that we were actually people and not numbers. And
that's great. I mean, we definitely get that comment a lot. I think it surprises a lot of guests. So it's just, I think, something that turns out to be a very nice touch for customers when they arrive.
So how many PMS platforms are you actually integrated with?
Well, right now we have customers that represent about 9 different property management software systems. But, basically you can go to our website at www.guestviewguide.com and see a full list. But if you don't see your system there, it's usually a pretty easy addition to add a new PMS system. So definitely, check out what we have, and if you don't see it, reach out to us.
Fantastic. Now, we just talked a little bit about how guests experience it, and I'm going to come back to Sam in a minute and ask them how his guests experience it. But what are the benefits, Sunil, to owners and managers?
Well, I think there are a few different things. So number one is that, at a high level, it provides property owners and managers with the opportunity to earn more money, because they can put things on there like value-added services and other things that guests can book right on the spot. The second thing is that really, I think it helps with driving down service calls, because guests can go and use that device to find instructions on how to find things or how to use things within the property. So they're not calling the property manager for all those things. So whether it's like, especially like one good example, I think when people walk into a place and they see the TV and there are 6 remotes sitting on the table and they don't know how to use it. And that can be really difficult to describe to someone over the phone or to, read in a book. And so they can just quickly watch a video on that type of stuff. And then I would say the third thing is just being able to give that guest like the insider tips about the local area. So, a property manager can provide those insights to them, and they can do it at scale. So they can, just update that remotely through the web, and they don't have to go out to the units and update all the different guidebooks.
Mm-hmm. That's a great benefit. So you also talk about upsell and services that can be offered via GuestView Guide. Can you give me some examples of the types of upsells that are being offered?
Sure. Well, there are a variety of value-added services that our customers are offering today. So I would say probably the biggest thing and that everyone should be doing is late checkouts, because it just makes it really easy for the guest to just hit that button and extend their stay. But I would say there are a lot of different types of things like luggage storage, ticket sales, breakfast, happy hour, pre-arrival grocery delivery. So, it really can be anything that the property manager, wants to provide, provided that they can fulfill that. So, the important thing I would say is to make sure that they're things that are value added. So, what we've found is that guests really appreciate and they're willing to pay a little extra for the things that make their vacations easier and more enjoyable. And they love the fact that they can, learn about and pay for things on their own time without having to talk to call a property manager.
Well, that's great. And just before we move over to Sam, I just want to mention one thing that we experienced. And that is that we could schedule automatic messages notifying guests about trash day. That's a big thing.
Right. Right.
Because in our neck of the woods, if the trash doesn't go out, then it's going to sit there in the heat for some considerable time until the next time. So, and it really worked. That was the other thing. It worked.
Yeah, and that's right. And I think there are a lot of things. So first of all, I would say for the property managers, it makes it really easy because they can schedule that once. And then, if trash day is on Tuesday, that's always going to come up across all your properties whenever you schedule that for it. But it's also great for one-time things. So let's say there's a festival going on, and so you can send guests a message and say, hey, make sure you go down to this festival that's going on Saturday at 8 p.m. Right. So things like that I think are a really nice touch for the guests.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sunil. That's a great overview of GuestView Guide. Let's move on over to Sam. Sam, your company, Savannah Luxury Rentals, manages over 80 properties. And do you have GuestView Guide installed in all of them?
I have them in about half of the inventory at the moment, and we're looking to add more units once we enter the spring season. So I've got 45 units installed right now at our highest end properties, and then I'm going to be adding more units in 2021.
So what were your objectives in implementing the whole program to install them in the properties?
It was interesting timing when they reached out to us with a cold call, in terms of how the year ended up evolving. But they reached out to us with a cold call in early March, cold call email, and followed up with a phone call. And he was like, listen, the GuestView guide will do 3 things. It'll make you more money, it'll make your business more efficient, and it will really delight your guests. So I urge you to give it a shot. And so my initial order was for 5 units and got those up and running right before the sky fell with COVID, but could immediately tell the impact that it could possibly have on our business moving forward. Obviously, going into COVID times for property managers, it was a really scary thing. But at the same time, during lockdown, when you weren't fielding cancellation phone calls, you had plenty of time to think about how to reorganize your business, how to make yourself more lean and more competitive when we could eventually exit, COVID times. And this really seemed like the exact kind of product that might be able to do that for us. And it really has turned out that way. We are making additional revenue through 3 different streams, selling lots of late checkouts. We used to just give late checkouts away for free, when someone called, just hoping you would get a 5-star review, in return. But now when you make it so easy for a guest to just press a button, they know what it costs up front, so they don't have to have any sort of awkward conversation about, are you going to charge me for this or not? It just makes it so easy. We sell trolley tickets for the old Savannah Tours trolley company in town. And that is a really growing business now that more and more people are feeling comfortable doing the tours around town. And then also recurring monthly ad sales. One of the best restaurants in town, Corleone's, the best Italian restaurant in the historic district, now pays us monthly to have one of their ads show up as sort of wallpaper art, beautiful spread of Italian food, makes everyone's mouth water as soon as it shows up on this gorgeous screen. And so we're sending lots of customers their way, and they're paying us, a monthly fee for that. So as far as revenue goes, it's been a dream.
What other feedback do you get from your guests about the units?
We're getting lots of feedback, and you can see it in our reviews on VRBO, Airbnb, on our own website. Guests are really tickled with it. It's really shown that the guest book is just dead. No one would go past page 1 once they found the Wi-Fi code. Okay, they toss it over their shoulder. This is such a beautiful, engaging format. The interactive map, all of the restaurant recommendations that can pop up on there, that I've provided. It's really allowed us to curate the guest experience in a much, much more engaging way than we were ever able to do in just a guest book. So they're really delighted with that. And one nice feature about the GuestView guide is it has a whole series of analytics where you can see how guests, are rating, their initial experience. They even rate the GuestView guide themselves. And then you can see, what percentage of your reservations are actually engaging with the screen. I mean, my percentage is nearly 100. I think it's 98, 99% of my guests are engaging with the screen. And it's nearly a 5-star rating for the GuestView guide itself when the guests are rating it.
That's terrific. As I say, we just trialed a single one in a single property, but certainly the feedback that we got has us definitely moving towards purchasing more for our units next year. So thanks so much, Sam, for joining us to talk about that. So let's go back to Sunil, so you can tell us a little bit about how people can get in touch with GuestView Guide and find out more.
Sure. I mean, the best way is to go to our website, which is www.guestviewguide.com.
Okay, that's it. That's all they have to do. So there's a contact form on there?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
And for those of you who are listening and watching this, you can go just below this video and see the link to GuestView Guide. So if you're hearing this on audio, you You can either write it down or you can go check out the YouTube video. So thank you, both of you, for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you as a user myself. As those of you watching know that I only endorse products that I either have used myself or have heard of from very satisfied customers. But this time I have used it too. So that's my vote as well, Sunil.
Great. Well, thank you, Heather, and I really appreciate you having me on today.
Not at all. Thank you both for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Sam, so how did having these units increase your business efficiency?
It's made a tremendous impact, and it was kind of surprising how big of an impact it has been in terms of the notifications that you receive when a guest checks in and when a guest checks out. You can have those notifications sent directly to your cell phone as the property manager, or in the case of checkout notifications, we have those sent directly to our housekeepers. So the housekeepers immediately get pinged, and instead of having to wait till 11 o'clock, just assuming their guests would wait until the last moment to check out, if a guest checks out at 7 a.m., a housekeeper, her business day can become so much more efficient. She knows she has more time to spend cleaning the property. She knows how to allocate her resources more efficiently. So that has been a major impact of these that is worth its weight in gold. And it has really, if I didn't make any revenue, from late checkouts or from selling ad space or trolley tickets, just that fact alone, the way that it sort of automates that communication with our housekeeping team across 45 properties has been brilliant and really a game changer for us in terms of efficiency.
What a great benefit.
Indeed, absolutely.
So, Sunil, what are the benefits of GuestView Guide to owners and managers?
Sure. Well, at a high level, I would say there are really three key benefits for property owners and managers. First of all, it provides an opportunity to earn additional revenue by allowing the property managers to offer guests value-added services that guests can pay for on the spot right through the platform. The second thing is it helps to reduce time spent fielding phone calls from your guests. And so you can provide instructions on how to find and use things within the property. So for example, if a guest was trying to use something like the dishwasher or a stove, which might have some unique aspect to it, they can just watch a video on it and versus trying to have someone describe that over the phone. I would say the third thing is it just helps property managers to deliver a great guest experience. So if you've ever stayed in a traditional bed and breakfast, you know that what really makes it special is the personal interaction and inside tips that you get from the host. So GuestView Guide essentially allows property managers to provide a similar experience with curated information and local insights, but to leverage technology so they can do it at scale. This has really been helpful for our customers to ensure that customers have a great stay, and it's critical in helping them to get great ratings and get rebookings.
That's terrific.